Motorhome Diaries.com.
Hi everybody, we're in Nashville, Tennessee, and I have the great pleasure of being with Dr. Rand Paul. How are you doing today, sir?
Good to be with you.
What's your position on immigration? I know you talk about that there should be a legal process, but if there's a property owner or an employer that wants to hire somebody, why is it the business of Washington, D.C. or that mob you were talking about, the 51% of the majority?
I think it is the responsibility of the government to police its borders and control who comes in and out of the borders. But I don't necessarily think the onus should be shifted to business. So for example, when you shift the onus to business, anybody who's of a darker skin or whatever that comes in, or if you look like you're Hispanic, then all of a sudden the onus is, well, maybe I don't want to hire him, and you may be a legal citizen. And so I think really the onus shouldn't be on the business. There still have to be rules, but the onus is on the individual who breaks the rules by coming in.
Okay, so the federal government should place rules on who comes in?
Well, I think the borders have to be controlled by the federal government. There is provisions for that in the Constitution. I think that's also part of our national defense in the sense that if we have borders that have no controls, that could be a way that we are having people come into our country and we're attacked. And even like if you look at things where we have been attacked in the past, people have come here on student visas, no one was doing good police work on the student visas. And it's not to say we don't grant student visas or we don't have people come to our country, but we need to be aware of who they are, where they come from, and what their purpose is, and whether they're adhering to the rules that were set.
Well, Homeland Security mentioned that to us when we were trying to go back from Canada to the United States. They held us, they searched our vehicle, and they cited all these laws about how the 9/11 hijackers came from Canada. But I mean, it's a huge security police apparatus, and so I don't think it jives with the ideas of freedom. So, but yeah, I mean, I think free people should be able to travel freely as much as possible.
Well, I mean, I don't like the idea of having a 15-foot wall with razor wire on it, but I think you do have to weigh technologically of watching your borders to see who comes across. The other thing is that, you know, the ideas of our Constitution and the ideas of personal freedom and private property were unique to our country. And we want people to come in and absorb those ideas, but not to come in at such a rate that they overwhelm the society in the sense, and we lose sight of what were our constitutional values. We're having trouble even with the people who are here understanding the Constitution, much less if you have 10 million people come across the border every year. And it's not to say we need to have a wall on the border, but it's to say how many people is the appropriate amount of people to come in a year at a time.
But is that the federal government's decision, or should that just be free people moving freely, taking jobs as needed, etc.?
Well, I think if the people were coming across the border, and in the old days, this is the way immigration worked, you had to have several things, and this is from the 19th century. You had to have a sponsor, you had to have a job, and you had to be free of disease. Those are things that we've had for a long time. But in the 19th century, there wasn't this huge governmental apparatus to give people welfare and free education and all these things. And the problem is if you have absolutely open borders, but you have a lot of free things you give people, then all these people will continue to come and absorb free things. So some of it's the carrot. If the carrot weren't there, it wouldn't be so much of a problem. But the problem is we're bankrupt as a country. And for example, the healthcare debate's even being driven by this. You know, 46 million people don't have health insurance, but about 20% of them have broken a law to come into our country. And is it our obligation now as a country to give them free health care? You can see how they influence the debate over a lot of other issues, that it's not, immigration doesn't become an isolated issue. But I can understand how people disagree on it. There are people within the liberty movement who have different feelings on exactly what it should be. There are some who believe in absolutely no rules. There are some who believe in a 15-foot wall. And there are some like myself who believe there just has to be an orderly process. And it really, I think under the Constitution, is the federal government, not the state government's prerogative to watch our borders.
And I would just say, like, let's get rid of that carrot.